Also, what is important to the customer? You know, sometimes we think its price is important, we think the cost is important, but often it may be other things that are important. It might be the timing. You know, it may not be the price. It may be, can we get it done by this deadline? That timeline may be much more an important driver for them than actual pricing. Can we include this aspect? That aspect may not be very expensive add-on, but for them it may be very, very important that that happens. You know, so understand what their drivers are. We think, oh, it's money. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. You know, like I've had clients say to me with the proposition, it's not about the money. Because it's not about the money. They recognise, you know, the money's there, it's been budgeted, it's about something else. You know, I've got one case where I've got a client, the budget's allocation is there, but one individual inside the company is blocking the start of the business. I've got my champion and I've got a blocker, and it's not going anywhere. And there's not much I can do about it really, because I'm outside the company supporting my champion, but it's really my champion's going to have to drive that. You know, so these things happen. Negotiate details before price. Now, the reason being, okay, what do you think? Why wouldn't you go straight to money? Why would you go to other things before you go straight to money? See, if you go straight to price, that's a sort of a digital, a 1 or a 0 outcome, yes or no. If you're building up value, if you're building up momentum through agreeing other things, you've just got this one thing left to go, then, you know, most of the deal's probably done, but then you get to price. That's generally build positive momentum, build agreement, build trust, and then, you know, if you're showing enough value, then often the price is not the issue. Now, it can be an issue if they've got budget limitations, and there's not much they can do about it, and there's not much you can do about it, so it's just a matter of whether you accept their pricing or not. But if you're showing enough value, and they've got some room to move, then if you've negotiated everything else and agreed everything else, this last thing is the last one to get around, then often those things may just flow. Or there may be a real sticking point on the numbers, just purely from a financial point of view, because that's all they're allowed to spend, or this is all they've got left in the budget of this period of the year, or this is all they've been signed off on. And sometimes this is all that's been signed off on, but you've got to go back and get it re-signed. And they don't want to do that. You know, it means they've got to go to their boss and renegotiate the price. And people would rather have you negotiate the price down than they have to negotiate the price up.
Yeah.
Therefore, don't be afraid to push them to go and get it signed off. You know? If you give them enough value, you've got to give them the weaponry, though. You've got to give them the bullets to fire to go to their boss and request more money. But people, generally speaking, they don't want to do that, right? They're hesitant to do that, especially in Japan.
How important do you think it is to build in wiggle room in like your pricing and your proposals, knowing that when you throw the anchor, you're probably going to have to negotiate somewhere?
Oh, I think it's very important. I would never go in with my bottom line price as my starting point, especially in Japan, because often they will expect some degree of flexibility on your part on pricing. Having said that, though, for us, for example, we have public delivery, so there are set prices, published prices for that. So that's, and then we have, you know, a set rack rate, supposedly, I guess you'd call it in your business. We don't call it that, but it's a set number. That's the number. You know, so there's no wiggle room on that except down. Right. Now, if it's a customized program, then there might be. But often we're doing that based around time, and there's a set rate for that too. So in our case, we've sort of bracketed ourselves into fixed numbers, and we try to defend those numbers by showing the value. But if you've got something where there's a bit more flexibility, where, for example, in hotels, if you look at the rack rate for a room in a hotel, often it's massively expensive. No one ever pays that amount, so there's lots of wiggle room. You know, they've built in a massively high number, and then they come off it. That's their margin. You know, manipulation, I suppose.
That's why the walkway point is really important.
Yeah. Well, see, yeah, walkway point. Yeah, you've got to know we're not doing it. You know, and there are a couple of things to remember there. One is the financial impact of taking it on for a non-profitable price.
The value versus the value.
And it decreases the value of your brand. And now, you know, suddenly your cost is here. That's why, you know, for discounting, it does put you into a mental framework. It's once you go down, it's very hard to go back up. So, you know, you're better to try and stick with it as much as you can and add things to it than come down, because once you're down, you're down. You know, that's now your price point is here. And, you know, we will walk away. We will walk away because we have to think long term. We're a premium brand. We're a high value organisation. We've got the best in class of delivery. You know, we've got the most experience. We've got everything going for us. Why would we devalue that? And now often people don't see the value because they don't know us. But our job as salespeople is to provide the value, provide that explanation. Right? Any other?